The fact that one or both parties to a divorce own a business can seriously complicate your divorce. You need to make sure that when you are in a divorce situation, you understand the full breadth of your spouse's or your business holdings. Being a business owner and going through a divorce process impacts so much. You have an equitable distribution interest in the business. Is the business one that was started before the marriage, such that it's separate property? And did you or your spouse contribute to the rise in the value of that business during the marriage? If so, that's something that needs to be considered. Is the business interest being separated? And will the separation of that business interest impact the amount of money available to the business owner for support? Now, these are considerations that you need to really sit down with an attorney about prior to filing any document with the court. How do businesses get valued during a divorce? That is a question that is going to be answered differently depending upon the type of business it is, depending upon who owns the business, who the partners are, etc. Generally, businesses can get valued using a fair market value approach or an income approach, but the type of business is definitely going to matter. So before you start to go down the road of negotiating businesses or waiving businesses, make sure that you sit down with a professional such as me, a certified financial litigator, to teach you about the various ways that may apply to your equitable distribution schematic in your divorce. You're a business owner and you're going through a divorce. What is the role of your prenup in protecting your business asset? Having a business is a very harrowing experience for many, but it's even more dangerous to have a business that isn't protected by a prenup. So how can you protect your business by having a prenup? Well, you can make sure that your separate property business that you established before you even got married remains separate property. Did you know that the appreciation of the value of a business is something that can be distributed during a divorce? If you worked very hard for your business and your spouse never contributed to that business, never gave any money or even lifted a hand, you're going to want to make sure that you have a prenup to protect all aspects of the business, the property of the business, the appreciation of the business, the name of the business. So please make sure that before you say I do, you sit down with an attorney to discuss having a prenuptial to protect your asset. How is business debt handled in a divorce? Well, generally, a marital asset such as a business is going to be valued, and the value is going to be impacted by the fact that the business itself carries debt. Now, we all know family and friends who have businesses and may sometimes help the business along by taking out a personal loan or putting business expenses on a credit card. And in that event, if those personal loans and personal credit cards are going to come into play in your divorce, you need to make sure that your divorce lawyer knows what those debts were used for. And so, before you reach for that personal credit card and charge anything that is related to your business, make sure that you sit down with a competent divorce lawyer first. You are getting divorced. What about the business that you own with your wife? How is that going to be distributed? Listen, getting divorced is serious business. And if you own a business with your spouse, making sure that you protect your income from that business and the distribution of that business is extremely important. And I'm going to give you one piece of advice that you may carry with you, even if you're not going through a divorce. Don't make the mistake of getting a divorce lawyer to manage the separation of that business and stopping there. Make sure that you also consult with a business and corporations attorney who is going to help you create a new operating agreement if you're going to keep that business with your spouse, or a dissolution agreement if you're going to dissolve the business with your spouse. Make sure that all of the terms of the dissolution of your business are set forth within a proper business arrangement contract. Do not leave everything in the hands of a divorce attorney, especially if that person does not practice business law day in and day out. If you are going through a divorce as a business owner, we are adept at helping you. Call Dow Divorce Law today.